Very quick. I know what you need.
Now I'm talking with Carter Ryan of Carter Ryan's Seasoning. And Carter is the mastermind behind flavor profiles that elevate backyard barbecues and backcountry campsites alike. Carter, appreciate you talking to me.
Thank you.
As I mentioned, I love you're a young entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurs. And tell me about your story.
Well, so my whole life, I started out cooking, my mom started out with me cooking sausage.
Right.
She wanted me to make spaghetti, she wanted me to make sausage dip, whatever was easy to make her getting off work a little bit easier coming home.
Oh, okay.
So I started out cooking sausage, and I hated cooking when I was younger. But as I got older, I started watching cooking videos, and I started making different foods, started exploring like different cultures of food.
Right.
And then I got into smoking about 3 years ago. And for Christmas, I got a charcoal smoker, which, as some people don't know, is a smoker where you use charcoal. So you have to constantly watch it, put coals in, fluctuate the heat. And the first thing I smoked was a brisket.
Nice.
My stepdad wanted me to do a Boston butt, but I wanted a challenge.
Okay.
I mean, if I'm gonna do something,
that's a challenge.
Yeah, I want to do it. And it turned out really good. It wasn't my best, but I've gotten really good. My last one I smoked was about 16 hours.
Okay.
But the seasoning aspect, this ties into back when I was cooking younger. Everything to me tastes the same. Everything on the market, there's something about every little season that's kind of the same. They all might have this same brown sugar or salt or whatever in it. Something is going to be the same.
Right.
And I wanted something different. And my mama would always post pictures of my food online, and people were like, man, I wish I could cook for you.
Right.
So the seasoning thing was like, okay, I might not be able to cook for you, but I can give you what I use to make my food good.
Got it.
And you could try it on your food. And so it'd kind of be like a home away from home idea of them trying my food.
Right.
And I started out with 12 bottles, actually these 12 bottles right here.
Right.
And I got them off Temu. And funny story, I actually got grounded.
Really?
Me getting grounded is what got this started.
Okay.
So this was a year and a half ago. I believe it was December 15th, 2024, or 13th. And one night, I said a cuss word and got in trouble.
Right.
So I wanted to get on my phone, but my mom had my phone, and I've had those 12 bottles and the labels I had for a year.
Right.
And I said, Mama, I'm gonna go make labels.
Right.
But I didn't want to make labels. I wanted to get on my phone.
Right.
And so she came and watched me make labels, and then those first 12 bottles that we made sold in a day. But we only did donations. So somebody could give me $5, somebody could give me $100.
Right.
They could have gave me $1 for the bottle. It didn't matter, just donations. And we went and see how that went, and it turned out going good. So then I started making it from home, which is right there. And the problem with making it from home, I didn't have like an industrial mixer. So each bottle had something different, more garlic, more brown sugar, more pepper.
Okay.
And then I saved up enough to get the original bottled by a packer in Little Washington, New Spice and Seasoning. Then the next one I came out with was a chicken rub, but I had to make that at home too. And that took me about 3 months of saving up. I got that, and then I did a couple runs. And then this barbecue sauce here, I had to make it for 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah, so each time decant it, make sure it was sealed properly so it'd be preserved before you opened it, and it would be in your fridge for X amount of time. We would have to make it and then decant it. It actually took 20 minutes.
Right.
And you could only do 7 at a time.
Wow.
So we had a couple hundred to do, and we would just do that all day.
Wow.
It was definitely painful going from having somebody to pack my stuff to having to make it again. And it's really great to have somebody to pack it. Now I don't have to do it. I just pay them, and I come to shows.
Right.
And then, but the sauce and the pawpaws is my grandparents. So that's them. The dry rubs was all me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very
that's
cool.
kind of the backstory.
Very cool. Well, that's a huge backstory, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So I have a couple questions I'm gonna ask you. Hope you don't mind me reading.
It's fine.
So what's the biggest mistake people make when seasoning their meat? Are they under-seasoning, over-seasoning, or just putting it on at the wrong time? What do you think?
I think most people are scared of seasoning. I think people under-season more. I would rather over-season a little bit.
Okay.
And know what I want to do, because if you underseason if you say you're cooking a brisket and you underseason it, and then you go to slice it and you try it, wait, this needs more seasoning. And if you put it up there, it's not really going to stick. It's not going to have that bark. It's not going to have the deep smoke flavor. I would rather put a little bit more and then see how it goes. And then if it is a little too much, you can put a little more sauce up there to balance it out. Because if you put too much, there's always something to balance it out. But if you put too less, if you throw it up there, it just won't stick. And to me, it doesn't have the best flavor. And I'm also a really heavy-handed seasoner. So.
All right, fair enough. Next question. When you were developing your signature blend, all right, what was the one specific flavor element or note you refused to compromise on until you got it right?
With the chicken rub, it was there was a certain ingredient in it that I just wanted. And I wanted the chicken rub to look a certain way. That was the big aspect for me. I wanted it to look a certain way. Whenever we made the original, it's red. It's a darker color. We would make that one and it would look red. I wanted it to look like that. I wanted it to have there's salt, garlic, all the stuff in it that would go on chicken, but also it's an all-purpose rub too. That was really the hard thing. Was just the color was the big thing for me. The ingredients, we actually started out with 1/8 of a teaspoon in a little container about this big, and then we would say, okay, we need more of this, more of that, until we got our formula and scaled it by 30 or something, just to get it right. That was probably the only thing for me. It was the way I wanted it to visually look good. That was my thing. Yeah.
Wow. It sounds like it's very instinctual for you.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. All right. So a lot of folks buy one bottle of seasoning and use it for everything from steak to popcorn. Do you lean toward creating a single, ultimate, all-purpose blend, or do you prefer to have specialized rubs?
I honestly prefer to have specialized blends. I feel like you want certain things on certain meats. If you have an all-purpose that would go on popcorn, but you also want it to go on your brisket or your ribs, you want something sweet on your ribs. You don't want nothing that salty on ribs. You want something a little sweet with a little heat. On your chicken or your steak, you want something more savory. So you got to kind of have like separate, I guess, genres to choose like what you want, and you got to know what you want on it, because people that make seasonings, they make it for it to go on certain things. We know what's best on certain foods, and we want you to experience what we experience with our seasoning.
Nice.
You know?
Nice, very good. 2 more questions for you.
All right.
How do you balance salt and heat in a rub so that it enhances the natural flavor of the meat rather than completely masking it? And when I developed this question, I was thinking more about venison, because people always talk about adding spices to cover the venison taste. What are your thoughts?
Well, with me, this is like when you have a steak or venison, you want the meaty flavor of the steak, just like you want the gamey flavor of a venison. You don't want it too gamey. So with the heat, you want to put just the right amount that's good for somebody that doesn't have a spice tolerance, somebody that does have a spice tolerance. You want to kind of meet in the middle for the customer. And with venison, I would say I like a tiny bit more heat than salt. But before I make mine, I like to dry brine it and just get the moisture out, and also tenderizes it a little bit. And then go up there with my original rub, and just it gives it that sweet, smoky, savory flavor. And actually, when this show was going to happen in January, we actually had jerky with the seasonings on it. But we kind of ate it because we ate it because the show didn't happen and we were snowed in. Yeah.
Awesome. At least it didn't go to waste.
No.
All right.
We had like a couple pounds of jerky. It was a lot.
All right, Carter, man. I appreciate your time. So last question I have for you. If you could only pack one bottle of your seasoning for a week-long backcountry camp trip, for example, which one are you going to grab and what are you going to cook with it? You can only grab one.
That's a hard one. So I know the original is all your grilling, and at the campsite you want to grill. The original can go on your chicken, it can go on steak if you want a little sweeter, spicy steak. It goes on your ribs. Anything on the grill, you throw that on. But that, I feel like, is more of an all-purpose. It can go on steak, it can go on vegetables. You could honestly put it on popcorn. I mean, it goes good on crackers. And that's what we sample with. I would say the chicken rub, and I'm not knocking down the original, I love it, but that chicken rub to me has your salt, it has a little sweet, it has a kick, it hits on kind of all cylinders that you would want something to do.
Right.
And I think that would be a good one to bring on a campsite, because I know everybody would want that. And the salt content, that was especially one thing with me, the salt.
Right.
Most companies you see, they have high salt because you learn that salt's cheap when you do this.
Okay.
So that has, I believe, 3% salt per serving, and that's 1% salt.
Oh,
so
wow.
I want the flavor to be good. I don't want it to be too salty. I don't want to be too spicy. I want to be the perfect balance so you can enjoy your food and not be like,
Right,
it's hot.
exactly.
Or wait, or like, where's the flavor? You want it to be good, and
Right.
I would honestly bring that one.
Okay.
Throw on the grill.
Fair enough. All right, so before I wrap up, Carter, thank you again. What's one thing that you would like the audience to know about your seasoning?
I would say there's not much like it. You don't see a lot of kids like me doing it.
Very impressed, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Very impressed.
There's not a lot of people doing it. I mean, I love playing my video games. That's what a lot of us do.
Right.
But just going out there, I'm a social person. I love meeting people. There's not a bone in me that's not shy.
Right.
I just love meeting people. I love talking to people, and obviously the money thing is a good part of it.
Right.
But just the interactions with people coming back. One time I had a guy bring me a bottle of chicken rub that had no seasoning left in it. He's like, I need more. It's really good.
Right.
And just like meeting people, seeing their reactions, oh man, this is good.
Right.
It's just a really great thing.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're going to go far.
Thank you.
All right. And best of luck.
Thank you.
All right, man.